Young man to the rescue! Detective Gumshoe, I trust you have the test results? Hell yeah! Of course, sir! I just got the report back from the lab. Detective, please be silent. You be silent! So this is the evidence that Prosecutor Edgeworth was talking about? Huh? Hey, what's this? This is the first I've heard of it. This was a request from me. I asked him to investigate a certain piece of evidence. What? Why is everyone always helping you out? Because people like me and I have charisma and I'm not a complete and total incompetent buffoon. I'm the one in charge of the crime scene. Mr. DeBest, frankly, you suck. I apologize for taking matters into my own hands, but how about we hear this report first? I was really hoping... I apologize for taking matters into my own hands, but I truly feel you to be entirely incompetent and that nothing would be accomplished if I let you do your job. Oh, sure. Detective Gumshoe, what were the results? Here's the report, sir. Traces of blood found in the Gemini sculpture belong to the victim of the poison gas, Dane Gustavia. What are you saying? He bled in the case? Good work, Detective Gumshoe. As I thought, my theory was correct. Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? We too would like an explanation. What on earth does this blood prove? Smug. This blood is something the culprit of the IS-7 incident tried to conceal. It can't be. This blood was found inside the glass case of the Gemini sculpture. In other words, your blood was found alongside Mr. Dover's body. Oh! He didn't bleed inside the tank. There was already his blood on the thing. On his body. Whoa! That means if anybody ever actually did get to that dang body, they could have easily found the blood and tested it and known it was you! Ha! What? Why would Mr. Gustavia's blood be in a place like that? If you intend to remain silent, then I'll reveal the truth myself. In the Gemini case, aside from the blood, we also found traces of salt and sugar. Salt and blood? And only one of Mr. Dover's sherbet desserts tasted salty. Come to think of it, I remember Miss Delicious saying the same thing 18 years ago. Oh, yesy? His sherbet was most delicious. Really? I wish I could have eaten some too. There was one piece that was so salty, I couldn't eat it. Salty? It's right here in this photo. It was a part of that lyre. That's the lyre from the, the lyre from the Gemini constellation. Exactly. For some reason, salt had been mixed into the lyre. No other traces of salt were found in Dover's room. In that case, please explain. Where did the salt detected in the lyre come from? I mean, I admit I don't understand everything about this, but there's literally only one, like, salty thing that I have in my inventory. So I'm gonna go out on a limb here and just, slide this on the table. This is the rock salt lamp used as the murder weapon in the IS-7 incident. I believe part of this rock salt lamp was mixed in with the sherbet from the lyre. At the time of the murder, there were 2 rock salt lamps in Mr. Master's room. One of those lamps took Mr. Dover's life. We know that Mr. Dover's blood was left behind on the murderous lamp. However, there were no traces of anyone's blood found at the crime scene, Mr. Master's room. Because the killer disposed all of the desserts with the traces of blood into the streams of water, right? Right. Changed character, sorry. No other traces of salt were found in Mr. Dover's room. Speaking of which, weren't the 2 rock salt lamps found in Miss Delicious's room also broken? Looks like both the lamps and the pillar are broken. Both of their light bulbs are broken. Maybe they were dropped on the floor? That would make sense. We never did figure out why the other rock salt lamp was broken. Maybe Mr. Gustavia's blood was on the other lamp. If their blood was found on the lamps at the crime scene, you would have been suspected. As the culprit, you would have needed to conceal all traces of your blood from the police. Don't tell me he concealed it in the sherbet lyre. That's nasty. Oh God, somebody ate it. Oh wait, no, he didn't. No, It was the replace. No, wait, somebody tried to eat it. Ew! Nope, someone still tried to eat it. Ew! The rock salt lamp and his blood were mixed into the sherbet lyre and hidden inside the glass case. Unlike the fountain's water, the sherbet desserts would not be analyzed right away. Perhaps he had planned to dispose of the sherbet when the opportunity presented itself. Then, the reason Mr. Gustavia came to this gallery. 18 years ago, the body and the evidence pointing to the killer were both stolen. Even the killer could not have anticipated that. There was no way of knowing when the body and the evidence would be discovered. So he planned to destroy the evidence before the Zodiac Art Gallery's grand opening. Dane Gustavia, isn't it about time you confessed? You are the true culprit of the IS-7 incident! Monsieur Gustavia, you're the reason Monsieur Master is... Mr. Gustavia? Could it be? After all this time, my crime is finally brought to light? The prosecutors and defense attorneys 18 years ago never even came close. Bravo! Bravo! Well done, sir prosecutor. So you admit that you killed Mr. Dover? It is true. I killed Isaac Dover. But he had only himself to blame. What do you mean? Dover and I worked together in order to win the contest. No matter who won, we agreed that we'd share the angel's recipe. But on the day of the finals, he stabbed me in the back. Sir Dover, this isn't what we agreed to. I'm sorry, Gustavia. The deal is off. But I made your desserts for you. I'm the reason you got this far. And what of it? Can you prove that you assisted me in any way? Dover, you were planning to betray me all along. Why did he betray you? Like, legitimately curious, he would still have gotten, like, all the money from this. You just wanted the cure, yeah? Because of Dover's treachery, I guess he's just a scumbag. I was forced to make my finals entry on my own. It's just as Sir Prosecutor said. My son assisted me every day until the finals. What about your pride as a confectionery artist? A proud chef loses the ability to taste his own creations. That's a feeling an upstart like you would never understand. Mastering the art of dessert making is my reason for being. It is my one and only pride. Committing murder for the sake of pride. That's another feeling I will never understand. To say nothing of abandoning your own son. Such a thought disgusts me. Before you judge me, first understand what happened 18 years ago. Alright, I'm listening. Because I sincerely doubt the abandoning your son for the sake of being a pastry chef thing is ever really gonna fly by me. On the day of the finals, my son never came to assist me. Thinking back on it now, I suppose Dover had a hand in that as well. Eh? What exactly happened to your son? I do not know, but it no longer matters. Ever since that day, my son meant nothing to me. From what I hear, he's still missing. That's awful! Giving up on him like that, you didn't even have any real answers. Without your son, you had no chance of winning, correct? Yes. And since I was guaranteed to lose, I needed a failsafe. I chose murder for that failsafe. No. During the afternoon tea, I made my way to Sir Master's room. I just needed to take a photo of the cure to my taste disorder. It would have all worked out. If only Dover hadn't interfered. Gustavia. Trying to steal a picture of my prize, are you? Well, that hardly seems sporting. You! Cure for taste disorders? Oh, you have a taste disorder, don't you? Oh, this is rich. A pastry chef who can't taste. Dover, you! Ah. Puny worm. You're in no position to oppose me. You! When I attempted to hit Dover, he struck me and sent me flying. I crashed into one of the rock salt lamps, and that was when my blood stained on it. So Mr. Dover wasn't the first one to be injured. To conceal my blood, I shaved away part of the rock salt lamp and mixed it into the sherbet like an absolute psychopath. After that, it became a part of the lyre sculpture. So, that's how you tried to erase your traces from the crime scene. Dover tried to blackmail me by using his knowledge of my taste disorder. If I didn't want it to become public, it was to pay him a large sum. So, that's the reason why you killed Isaac Dover? Yeah, exactly! What reason do I have to let those who obstruct me live? He was the one who drew first blood. I simply gave him his just desserts. I see what you did there. You committed unspeakable crimes and other just really scummy things, but hey, you got a good pun game, I guess. Unless that wasn't his intent. So that was his motive. I carried the rock salt lamp that bore my blood into Dover's room. Then I came up with a hiding place where it would not be easily found. I get it. The room contained plenty of tools for sculpting sherbet. Your deduction is spot on, Sir Attorney. It was the ideal place to shave away the rock salt. I then proceeded to coat the surface of the sherbet lyre with vast amounts of the salty mixture. But why? Why did you try to pin the crime on Monsieur Master? You are wrong to blame me for that, Lady Catherine. If not for your unnecessary meddling, Sir Master would never have been a suspect. Huh. Why do you think I hid the murder weapon in fluorescent cloth in Lady Delicia's room? Oh. Oh. There's only one reason why you'd place a murder weapon in someone else's room. You murdered one of the contestants and you were gonna pin the blame on another one. Yeah, no, that makes significantly more sense than trying to get Master arrested. You wanted to pin the crime on Delicia. Yeah! Me? Yes, that is correct. Gusty, what? Why me? Can we just talk about how actually everything about, like, Delicia's situation is just horrible? Her friend of 18 years, or at least friend that she thought she had of 18 years, robbed her for the sake of being able to commit a murder. Another person she thought she had a decent relationship with was going to pin her for a murder. Good lord, what'd this woman ever do to the world to deserve all this? As one who sought to be the world's best confectioner, I greatly respect it, Sir Master. It was never my intention to cast suspicion on him. But an insolent woman who dared to sully the contest with fake desserts. I had no problem letting someone like you take the blame for the crime. That makes me sad. If you hadn't snacked on other people's desserts, the body would have never been found. It was when Sir Master would be judging Lady Delicia's room. That's when I finally saw an opportunity to freeze the body, but before I could move the body, Lady Catherine had already discovered it. Why did you need to freeze Monsieur Dover's body? Why, indeed! Monsieur Edgeworth, please tell us. Why would Monsieur Gustavia have needed to freeze the body? To disguise it as an ice sculpture, to throw out the time of death, to create a fake crimes. I think this would make the most sense. Mr. Gustavia intended to freeze the body in order to throw off the time of death. If the time of death had coincided with the tea party, Mr. Gustavia would have been suspected. That is correct. Preparations were necessary to freeze the body, while I was preparing in Dover's room. I placed the body in the treasure chest in Sir Master's room. I could think of no better hiding place at the time. But thanks to that gluttonous pharmacist, the lid of the chest broke. But why did you disguise him as an ice sculpture? Once the body was discovered, there would be no time to throw off the time of death. To buy time, you needed to hide it someplace else. How horrid. How could you hide Monsieur Dover's body within one of his own works? It all would have worked out if the body hadn't been discovered while it was in Sir Master's room. If everything had gone according to plan, Sir Master would never have been arrested. Oh, God, Kate. So, because I discovered the body? It's my fault Monsieur Master was... Kate. Oh, don't take his words to heart. Even if suspicion hadn't fallen on Mr. Master, Miss Delicia would have taken the fall. No matter who he targeted, the one at fault here is Mr. Gustavia himself. You did do a bad, and you do need to pay for that, but ultimately a life was going to be destroyed no matter what. That was always the goal. The detective in charge of the initial investigation was also a dunce. To think that he never reported the missing body to the prosecutor. Prosecutor Von Karma indicted Mr. Master without knowing the body had vanished? I see. I don't explain why he looked so flustered at the crime scene. Although, it's something that would stand out if you read the official documents. Could someone have intentionally distorted the information? At any rate, Von Karma found out about the missing body after he made his indictment. And if he had let one person be acquitted, he'd have a stain on his much-prided perfect record. And that's why he concealed the fact that the body was hidden and had Mr. Master declared guilty. But what are you saying? For 18 years, that man has taken the blame for your crimes. Don't you feel anything at all? The man literally abandoned his son for the sake of cake. I'm pretty sure he's kinda a little too far gone for that. I don't care what you say. What a monster! I'm arresting him right here, right now, sir. Yeah, isn't that kind of a problem? I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that will be impossible. So you figured it out. That's correct. No, part of me kind of always knew. You have no right to sentence me! What? But the culprit is standing right in front of us! Allow me to tell you the reason why you can't arrest me. Oh boy. Why you can't arrest me? It's been 18 years since I murdered Dover. That means I get to go away scot-free. It's a prize for being so sneaky. The statute of limitations for murder in this country is 15 years, is it not? In other words, it's impossible for you to arrest me. I only confessed my crime because the statute of limitations is expired. The statute of limitations for murder is 15 years? Mr. Edgeworth, is there nothing we can do? As long as the statute of limitations remains, arresting him is impossible. That reminds me, actually, hang on a second. Can I actually look at this thing? I don't know if I ever actually bothered. The suspect... Oh, wait. Oh, okay, well, never mind. This is actually much more cut and dry than I was ready for. I only looked at the top things! If the suspect flees to or lives in a foreign country, the time limit is on hold until the suspect returns. Alright, just gonna close this book. I'm pretty sure I know how to go about this now. As long as the statute of limitation remains, arresting him is impossible. No way. My sincerest apologies, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Neither Mr. Gustavia's testimony nor your logic can be taken as official legal proof. The verdict of the trial 18 years ago cannot be overturned. What? What about the fact that Mr. Dover's body was hidden? Even if we can't arrest Mr. Gustavia, that should at least earn Mr. Master a retrial. Really? I wonder about that. Overturning a verdict of the goddess of law is much harder than you think. Is the PIC just trying to justify the verdict from 18 years ago? How corrupt is this system? How unfortunate, Sir Prosecutor. Is there nothing I can do? Is there no way to continue pursuing Mr. Gustavia? I think I know. Alright, but I think I also need to press something first. Alright, it's been 18 years since you murdered him. Statute of limitations for murder in this country is 15 years, is it not? In other words, it's impossible for you to arrest me. I'm not 100% sure, honestly. Let's just press stuff until something opens up. No matter how many years have passed, your sin will never fade. Sir Prosecutor, I'm sure you must have realized by now. There's no way you can arrest me. Arresting you would be a piece of cake for someone like Mr. Edgeworth. Isn't that right, sir? I don't think it will be that simple. It's impossible for you to arrest me. So you say, I'm just looking for a small crack. I got my hammer and my chisel, I'm ready to strike. It's possible that some of your actions 18 years ago were not affected by the statute. What? Yeah, or whatever. It's been so long, I've got nothing left to hide. Ask me anything you'd like. Very well. Could you explain to me what you did during these past 18 years? Certainly. After the contest, the medicine from the recipe book allowed me to fully cure my taste disorder. I then immediately headed to Zhangfa to train my design skills. That sounds important. So he wasn't even seen since, Yeah, wasn't seen ever since the case because he was in a foreign country. Indeed! And I'm certain that I went abroad to train. About 1 year after the case, right before Sir Master's final trial began. And thanks to my training, I am now a confectioner unparalleled in both taste and design. Alright, well that is a really cool wolf. You should not be proud of a position earned through the sacrifice of others. But I am, and you can't stop me. You can't bake a cake without breaking a few eggs. Sacrifices were necessary for my goal. And if that means murdering a man and abandoning my son, then so be it. I like candy! It's horrible. Say what you will. The fact still remains that you cannot arrest me. I have to get more information out of Mr. Gustavia. Was there anything of note in his recent testimony? Yeah, his training in Zheng Fa, obviously. Could you please add the details about your training in Zheng Fa to your testimony? Certainly. Afterwards, I trained in Zheng Fa. I don't know how long you were there. I mean, that's the only real sticking point I have, but if there's any chance you were there, okay, you just had to have been there for 3-4 years? Yeah, 4 years, definitely. As long as you were there for that long, then this should be totally viable. Atomic smoke explosion! One of the conditions regarding the statute of limitations for murder is as follows. If the suspect flees to a foreign country, the time limit is on hold until the suspect returns. So the statute of limitations was suspended while you were overseas. That's right! The statute of limitations stopped while you were training in Zheng Fa. Indeed. It is possible that the statute of limitations has not expired yet. Mr. Gustavia, please tell us how long you stayed in Zheng Fa. I almost feel like we should have gotten that information before we brought this up, though. It would be exactly 3 years. 3 years? Wait. Well, let's calmly think this over. The case occurred 18 years ago. The statute of limitations is 15 years ago, and he was away for 3. 15 plus 3 is exactly 18 years! I'm sure of it! Mr. Edgeworth, we did it! The statute of limitations hasn't expired yet! Exactly 18 years, you say? How amusing! So he realized. Why are you laughing? The statute of limitations still applies! Okay, it's frustrating, but the case occurred in December. It's April now, which means, strictly speaking, the case occurred 18 years and 4 months ago. His stay abroad wasn't quite enough. We were just a few months short. Not enough? That's... Like I said, it's impossible for you to arrest me! Nah! He must have known all about this when he confessed to his crime. Prosecutor Edgeworth, it really is a shame. If it was just 1 year earlier, the statute of limitations would not have run out. Those who undermine the Goddess of Law's verdict must bear the burden of their crimes. Even if they're right? What? It seems you were simply incapable. This can't be the end. So, Monsieur Gustavia really is beyond the law's reach. Kate, what are you thinking?
Objection.
If you're thinking of taking matters into your own hands, I implore you to reconsider. There still might be a way to bring this man to justice. What? Miles, remember the facts of the case 18 years ago. Just as you were mistaken earlier, it seems Mr. Gustavia has also overlooked one key detail. The facts of the trial? Or the case? Statute of limitations ran out December 14th. Victim body was found. Murder. No autopsy report. I don't think I see anything that really contradicts anything. Overlooked? He wasn't present during Mr. Master's final trial, so he doesn't know the outcome of the trial. There may yet be a way for you to arrest him. Wait, are you trying to say that because the trial lasted for more than a year, then the statute of limitations is still good? That's my only thought. Miles, look over that book on statute of limitations again. All right, sure. Gladly. If possible accomplices are on trial, the countdown is stopped until the verdict is reached. Then I got, you know, just to be on the safe side, if charges are pressed to demand compensation, the statute is frozen for the length of the procedure. Okay. Yeah, no, never mind. That's what you get for never reading a book cover to cover, people. 17 years ago, Master was falsely declared guilty for a serious crime. Thanks to that verdict, we aren't out of ammunition just yet. Mr. Shields, you don't mean... Maybe I do. Those who undermined the Goddess of Law's verdict must bear the burden of their crimes. I'm Mr. Master's attorney. I can't use his suffering as a weapon in good conscience. For that reason, I'll leave the rest up to you. Okay, I get it. The trial my father and Von Karma battled over. Can I use that to arrest Mr. Gustavia? What should I do? Should I raise an objection? Yes, we should. My father and Von Karma. Their paths diverged. One revealed the truth, the other concealed it. The path that I choose is the one that reveals the truth. I see no further reason to prolong this trial. I hereby find Dane Gustavia not guilty. Yeah, that's cool and everything except no. Overruled! Gustavia will stand in court for his crimes. Do you mean to say you have found a way to arrest Mr. Gustavia? Exactly. I'll show Judge Courtney the evidence that'll shatter the statute of limitations. Should just be the case file itself, I'd imagine.
Take that!
The IS-7 case file? Which page are you referring to? The suspect data. The suspect data page. At the trial, Jeffrey Master was found guilty of being an accomplice to murder. And it took 1 year to arrive at this verdict. Right. That is indeed true. This book lists conditions in which the statute of limitations can be put on hold. The first, as I have said earlier, is if the suspect flees to a foreign country. But there's one more. Oh, you got so close. If possible, accomplices are on trial. The countdown is stopped until the verdict is reached. Gregory may have lost the case. He may have died as a result of it all. But his tenacity and refusal to give up actually still made this all work out in the end. Dude's a badass, plain and simple. What are you saying? Sir Master was found to be an accomplice? That's right. Mr. Master was sentenced after you had left for your trip to Zhengfa. And he was found guilty not of being the culprit, but of being an accomplice. But it seems you didn't know that. That's absurd! Sir Master never committed any crime to begin with! You should certainly know this! Of course we do. That's why we're going to free him. To that end, we will shatter the one remaining obstacle in our way. The Statute of Limitations! You fled to Zhengfa for 3 years, and Jeffrey Master was being tried as an accomplice for 1 year. Put it all together, we see that the total time limit for this case is 19 years. In other words, the Statute of Limitations is not over for you yet. The Goddess of Law is unerring in her judgments. However, it seems that the prosecutor at the time was not. I cannot believe it, but it seems like the case will have to be reopened. This is absurd! You cannot arrest me! For the last 18 years, an innocent man has suffered greatly in your stead. Mr. Gustavia, it's now time for you to atone for your crimes. I bow to you. I'd finally earned my place as the greatest confectionery in the world. Confectioner. To achieve that goal, I cast everything aside, even my own son. What a shame. You can't run from your crimes any longer! Okay, for what it's worth, that was very impressive. Dane Gustavia has been taken into custody, sir. Yeah, so you're up next, right? Kate. Yes, I understand. Kate. Everyone, I'm truly sorry for all the trouble I've caused. And thank you very much for catching Monsieur Gustavia. What you did cannot be overlooked. Even if the crimes you committed were in response to a past injustice. As a prosecutor, I am terribly sorry for what happened. No. I'm only getting what I deserve, since I was the cause of all this. Kate, will you have me as your attorney? I'm not quite the same useless kid I was 18 years ago. I won't let them find you guilty. Oh, Monsieur Shields. Yes. Thank you so much. Sorry to interrupt, but it's time to go. Yes. All right. Judge Courtney, I can't help but feel that you have been dishonest with me. Dishonest? Whatever do you mean? You said that the verdict could not be overturned, but that was not the case. A reinvestigation and retrial were obviously required as soon as the missing body was found. I have no need to answer you. It seems she doesn't intend to ever give me an answer. What is your deal? Prosecutor Edgeworth, the PIC has you in its sights. They will receive a report on everything you did here today. What, solving a previously unsolved crime that you all thought was solved when it wasn't? Alright. And you will most likely be required to appear before them. Now then, I shall take my leave. Hold on! Mr. Edgeworth caught the real bad guy! Didn't he do his job as a prosecutor? No matter how things turn out, I will never regret what I did here today. Mr. Edgeworth. Hey! Prosecutor Edgeworth! What is it? Why are you always sticking your nose into cases that you're not even involved with? My duty is to reveal the truth. Not only as a prosecutor, it's just who I am. I don't get it. As long as you continue to think that being the best is all that matters, I doubt you ever will. Well, I don't get that either! I'm going home. Baby needs a nap. What was that all about? There's much he still needs to learn. Miley! Ugh, what is it? I knew Craigie's son could do it. I think I might be falling for you. Oh God, why does that happen so often for poor he just doesn't want any of that. I just don't think he's interested in that kind of ideology or life at all. He just wants to be on his own. Thanks for helping, Jeffy. Well, Yo, Hedgie! Great job solving that case. I was busy drawing, so I didn't really catch all of it. Where did Katie and Justy run off to? Larry, you are an actual travesty against humanity, and I wish you'd stop appearing in my life. Maurice, you really weren't paying much attention at all, were you? Well, I hate to admit it, but Larry's doodles actually helped us out a few times. Alright, look. I don't like Larry. Dude's an absolute train wreck personified into a human being. But don't call his work doodles. They're basically photorealistic at this juncture. Dude's incredibly good. He's just everything else about him that sucks. I should say something nice to him. Don't glare at me like that. I'm sorry. It's not my intent to glare at you. It's my default state of being. You've known me long enough that I really feel like you should know that. The patented Edgeworth glare. You're just like your old man. Is that so? Well then. Uncle Ray's gonna go pay Mr. Master a visit. You guys want to tag along? I very much would, yes. I'd be happy to accompany you. Me too! Like, actually, factually, I'd very much want to see him again. He's the only one we haven't seen in the present. So this Jeffrey Master, what's he like? Oh, he's a really nice and gentle guy. He's still doing his best to make people happy. He actually cooks desserts for the inmates. Nowadays, all the prisoners and guards look forward to snack time at 3 o'clock. That's nice. I want to eat his desserts too. So the chocolate cake we saw in the prison the other day. Holy crap, that's genius. I didn't even think about that. Holy crap, game. The writer or writers of this particular game in the franchise, I've never considered an Ace Attorney mystery to ever not be good. Maybe some are weaker than others, but none of them have ever been bad. But so far, this entire game has been so masterfully interwoven together with each case. It's making my damn head spin. Holy hell. He was the one who made it? That's legit incredible. Ah, Gummy! Why are you here? I heard everybody was coming to visit, so I escorted Mr. Master myself. Hello, one and all. I am Jeffrey Master. They actually updated the sprite. I was wondering if they would. Prosecutor. Miles Edgeworth at your service. And I'm Mr. Edgeworth's assistant, Kay Faraday. It is a pleasure to meet you all. Mr. Master? Miles is your old defense attorney's son. You mean Mr. Gregory's? Your father has done so much for me. And yet, I betrayed his good faith when I made the false confession. I've heard the details from Mr. Shields. Mr. Master? I came here today to tell you everything we've learned about 18 years ago. 18 years ago? Kate committed a crime for my sake? Why would she do such a thing? Miss Hall has been trying to prove your innocence for the past 18 years. She was willing to do whatever it took to save you. Kate. She shouldn't have gone through so much trouble for an old man who let her down. Mr. Master, I don't think you realize just how much Miss Hall cares for you. I have something here that clearly proves the two of you share an unbreakable bond. An unbreakable bond? Proof of the bond between Jeffrey Master and Catherine Hall. This should give Mr. Master some peace of mind. Ah! She never did stop making these.
Take that!
Here you go! These chocolates. Did Kate make them? She did. They're really sweet and tasty. She's been making these chocolates for the past 18 years. So that she could give them to you whenever you returned. Kate. I'm sure they are very, very sweet. I'm getting misty-eyed, not gonna lie. Yes, they truly are. Unfortunately, I cannot give them to you now, but I can hand them over later in secret, pal. It is against the rules, but right now I don't have the authority to stop him. Thank you very much. Say, you remind me of an old friend. Do you know of a Detective Bad? Of course I do! Detective Bad is my #1 role model, pal. How uncanny. Talk about fate. Mr. Master, it's looking like we'll be able to get you out soon. I can only apologize that it took 18 years to do so. I bow to you. Raymond, I'm the one who should be apologizing. No, that's not it. What I really should be saying is, thank you, Mr. Master. Now it's my turn to wait for Kate. I'll make her favorite sweets every day until she returns. Please look after her, Raymond. You got it. The IS-7 incident. The case I inherited from my father. After 18 long years, it's finally coming to a close. God. I'm sorry, I need to go on the tiniest of tangents. I outright adore just how much they were able to make out of something so minor. When you really get right down to it, Edgeworth's backstory with his father and Von Karma killing him. Like, I wasn't there every step of the way of the Ace Attorney franchises, you know, coming out each piece, each installment. But, like, we knew nothing about Gregory. We just knew he was a defense attorney who was Edgeworth's dad, and he was murdered by Von Karma. We knew it was a tragic event, and we knew Von Karma was a monster for doing it. But the circumstances leading up to it, he's like, well, he left a mark on his perfect record, and he murdered him for it. Like, the fact that they were able to take the case that they were up against each other on, and flesh it out to this capacity, to make it this big, grand thing, and then to be able to seamlessly bring Edgeworth into it during his own spin-off so that he could go back to it and solve the missing pieces of it that the audience, the players of the games, wouldn't even know existed in the first place. Sure, we could have assumed Von Karma cheated up a storm for the sake of it, and that was it. But the fact that we were actually able to go back and fix those past crimes, even with neither of them even being involved anymore, with Gregory and Von Karma being gone now. That is so incredibly cool. This game is so good. Miles, thanks for today. I'm sorry for leaving that final decision to you. No. I made that decision of my own free will. Eh? What are you talking about? To arrest Gustavia, we had no choice but to use Mr. Master's false charge. To use Mr. Master's false charge, which I was originally supposed to protect him from. The attorney inside of me simply could not do it. So that's how it was. But, after this, Uncle Ray is gonna try to clear away that false charge as well. Yes, I understand. What? But if they find out about the false charge, they won't be able to arrest Mr. Gustavia, right? That's true. It sure is a contradiction in the law. The way the law is right now, it isn't always completely right. A contradiction in the law? Well, who knows what'll happen? The law evolves and grows just like all of us do. Just like Uncle Ray and Miles have grown up, you know? People in the law both grow. Miles, to fight crime as a prosecutor, or to save people as a defense attorney, I want you to think carefully about how you want to live your life from now on. I will. I so want to know what his decision is. Well, if you ask Uncle Ray, you'll always be welcome down at the office. Alrighty then. Looks like it's time for Uncle Ray to get going. Next time I see you, I'll be sure to thank you again. Gumman. Really, though. Thanks for today. Bye, Ray. Mr. Shields seemed to be in a bit of a hurry. Indeed. I should be the one thanking him. I was able to face my father's last case because of him. When I was young, I wanted to become a great defense attorney like my father. However, under Prosecutor Von Karma, I learned the ways of a prosecutor. Thanks to a certain friend, I was able to discover my own path in life. Aww. However, right now there are forces trying to take me off the prosecutor's path. Maybe now is the perfect time to think about how I should live my life. Edgeworth is about to make some very serious choices, and I really want to know them. Gregory, I'm sorry that it took so long. It may have taken 18 years, but finally, we've proven Mr. Master's innocence. Niles, your son, helped me with that. The way he fought for the truth, he was just like you, Gregory. Oh, Lord, it's happening. I'm still not the kind of attorney you were, but I will forever carry on the convictions I inherited from you. And if I can, together with him. Oh, that's why he took the photo. That's so unbelievably sweet. It was in the same place, too. Oh, my God. To fight crime as a prosecutor, or to defend lives as a defense attorney, the path I choose is... What's the path you choose? You can't tell me the end. What's the path you choose, Niles? What was the path he chose?